6:55:55 Jacksonville.
Jags 6 out of 10 on third. Mack drops, fires, middle of the field, caught Brian Thomas Jr. inside the 10, inside the 5, toward the goal line. Touchdown! Mac Jones to Brian Thomas Jr. and the Jags have retaken the lead. Dropping is Rodgers. Looking. Time, too much time. Fires deep down the middle of the field. That's Devontae Adams. Make the catch. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Stays on his feet. Touchdown. They hand it to Hall. He walked into the end zone. The Jags didn't offer much resistance. That's the right play. You got to let him score there. So you get the ball back he scores with 1:05 to play. Max looking. Fires deep downfield, and that was a miscommunication and an interception. Oh my goodness, you needed a half yard. Mack threw it down the left sideline. There was nobody there. Sauce Gardner backpedaled and just caught the ball that came right to him.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It is a Check the Tape Tuesday. Jaguars fall to the New York Jets 32-25. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and Dylan Denmark here with you. Good morning, Logs. How are you?
Good.
How are things?
Yeah, good. Can't complain one bit.
Were there good things in the film this week?
There was some good, and there was some bad, and the bad kind of keeps rolling along with a theme that it's been kind of all year.
Meaning what specifically?
The breakdowns on defense,
just,
which continues to allow this football team to have a strong hold on the most explosive plays allowed in the league.
And the worst overall defense in terms of yards allowed, passing yards allowed.
Where are they at points now?
I think they're 6th, Tone. We looked at it yesterday.
Like that, yeah.
6 most points allowed.
Okay.
I think they're like number, I don't know, like they give up like the 10th most against the run.
Yeah.
So a little bit better against the run than they are against the pass. Why would you try to run when you can throw it all day on this team?
Well, I mean, that was the big thing I was concerned about. I mean, you go back to the Tennessee game and Will Levis and the misses that he had on some open guys that were going to light you up. And unless he gets, pressure in the pocket, and they weren't able to get pressure on Aaron to where they kept him from finding some open guys, and it kind of went how I thought, where you had mental breakdowns and he was able to take advantage of it.
All right, let's talk about one play in specific to start things off, right? The play where...
Which one? We got 3 of them.
Well, you know the one because we were just talking about it before coming on. The one where Devontae Adams crosses the field.
Yeah. And there was nobody in the neighborhood?
Nobody in the neighborhood. Ultimately, he catches it, is able to run down, get down to the 1-yard line, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
There's been fingers pointed at Jarian Jones on that play. The fingers pointed at Devin Lloyd on that play.
Well, Devin's kind of an easy target because he's had some issues this year.
I understand, but I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. You watched the film.
Mm-hmm.
What happened on that play?
Well, I honestly, the first time I watched the film, I didn't really understand exactly who was responsible. And then when Doug had his press conference yesterday and he talked about mesh, I was like, oh, okay. Because when I watched the film, I was like, it can be one of two things. It can either be man, and Jarian just didn't run with his guy, which Jarian's a smart player. I mean, he's been a good player. I was like, how can that happen? So I was like, all right, well, I don't think it's Devin Lloyd because it looks like they're maybe playing cover 1 with a robber, but are they passing off the crossing routes? Well, a lot of times teams will play like a zone, and it's more of a match zone. So you are taking guys based on release and where they go into your zone. And in this case, when Doug talked about passing guys off, Jarian and Antonio Johnson are essentially on each side of Devin Lloyd in the middle, okay? And you have 2 guys crossing, running basically crosser routes, drag routes, whatever you want to call them, and Jarian and Antonio Johnson are supposed to pass them off. Jarian stops, short of Devin Lloyd. Antonio Johnson continues to run with his guy across the field all the way to Jarian. And that's when Jarian was like, you're supposed to cover that guy. So then he's running across the field after Devontae catches the ball, and he gets down there and he makes contact with him, right at the 1-yard line. So essentially Antonio Johnson blew it.
Because I think a lot of people have put the blame on Devin Lloyd specifically on that play.
Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
what was his role on that play?
Basically a short middle zone player. and he was fine. I mean, he actually carried the crosser for a minute while it was in his zone and then picked up the other guy coming across. I mean, he was fine on that play, and Antonio Johnson, young player, earlier in the year, he was a starting safety and then got demoted because he had some issues. And that's when Savage went in the background. Cisco then was the starter alongside Savage. And in this particular game, Antonio Johnson had breakdowns. Savage did not have a good game. And then you had 3 big mental errors in the ball game that were all explosive plays. And that's one of the reasons why this defense continues to have a problem. And, I kind of put this on coaching, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is that, if you're running like a zone match, then you better make sure that they know what they're doing, number one. And number two, you better make sure that they have the ability to know what they're doing and to execute it. If they can't do that, then you shouldn't run that play. And so when it doesn't happen, ultimately that kind of falls on the coaching. And the mistakes continue, and that's why I say coaching here, is because you can't continue to make mistake after mistake after mistake, week after week after week, as a defense and sit there and point the fingers at the players all the time. At some point you've got to, have some coaching responsibility in this. And this defense is making big mistakes on a weekly basis, mental errors. And you just can't continue to function as a defense and expect to compete when you make mistakes like that. And it was a miracle that this team competed. Thank goodness the offense was actually productive in this ball game, because if the offense wasn't productive and the defense just makes those mistakes, it might be a game like we saw in Detroit or maybe the game like in Buffalo.
Is it possible? I don't know the answer to this, but is it possible that when they execute it in practice, it looks right?
Yeah,
that they do the right things? Because I know Doug Peterson at one point early in the year talked about how we keep having these great weeks of practice, and basically, I'm paraphrasing, weren't carrying it over to game day. I don't know who specifically he was talking about, but, those execution things. And, otherwise, why are you putting in these concepts if you don't think this team has the personnel to execute them properly?
I don't know. It's glaring. Some of the mental errors that they're having. You go back to Tennessee when, great play when Will Levis incomplete, when the ball fell incomplete in the end zone, Okonkwo was wide open. You go to another play in the ball game, and Devin Lloyd had a screw up. Calvin Ridley was wide open for a touchdown. Remember when they tried to force the ball to the guy that's got
Westbrook,
a bunch of touchdowns? Yeah, Keenan in the right corner of the end zone. Calvin Ridley was wide open. Will Levis just didn't see it. It's like, how can you continue to make mistake after mistake, and expect to compete? You just can't. And, I hear, Ryan Nielsen saying, well, it's not who we are, we're getting bit. No, who you are is a defense that continues to make mistakes. And at some point, you can't just keep sitting there saying, well, that's not who we are. You got to realize that's who we are, and then we need to change that so that's not who we are. Frustrating.
Obviously so. A lot of things to get into on both sides of the football. Just give me a quick summary, and we'll get deeper into it as we go. Just Mac Jones' performance this week.
Better, but he still made mistakes. The interception that, you can sit there and say, well, it was just like a punt, which you could say. The first one.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. And Mac Jones was running off the field doing kind of the punting sign like, oh, yeah, we're okay. It's just like a punt. Sure it is. But, if you've given your guy a chance and thrown the ball to the outside, maybe it's a big play. The ball wasn't put in the proper location. It was put in the middle of the field when the route was to the left side of the field or the Jaguars' bench side of the field. You make a better throw there, give your guy a chance. It's not even a possibility of being intercepted. The interception late in the ball game. Okay, he throws that ball. It's kind of basically they're trying to do an out and an up, okay, with Parker Washington. And they're hoping that they got cover two. And that's the route that you want to have if it's cover two. Well, Sauce Gardner backs out. It's not 2, it's 3. And that tells you right then and there, don't throw the ball, okay? Because what was the down and distance? It was like 2nd and short, I think it was.
2nd and 1, yeah.
You got a guy underneath to move the sticks if you just make the throw and you have a misread and make a bad throw. So at the end of the day, you don't win, so you don't give him a passing grade. And you got two inaccurate throws that were not very good. But then he had some good plays as well. But at the end of the day, as a quarterback, you're paid to win. You're paid to win. And if you look at Mac's production as the starter, it hasn't been great from a point standpoint. I mean, and even kind of when you go back and you look at his starts with New England, they weren't very good and didn't score a lot of points. And I mean, I think the last 8 games he's starting, he's averaging like 12 points as a starter. And that's not good enough.
He was brought here to be an upgrade over C.J. Beathard, but in part, I think, as well, because they were fearful about C.J. Beathard staying healthy himself, right?
Which he wasn't.
Got beat up a lot.
Yeah. And he was hurt coming out of camp this year.
But is Mac's how do you rank his performance compared to what you've seen from C.J. Beathard when he's been pressed in his service?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of I think he has better arm talent, but I mean, production-wise, I mean, probably about the same. CJ's probably been better. I mean, if you look at a point output, when you sign Mac Jones, I mean, your hope there is that not when you signed him, when you traded for him, your hope there was that, hey, look, we're going to give up a late round pick, and then we're going to have a really good backup that we can run our whole offense with. That's got arm talent to be able to make all the throws, so we don't have to change anything going from Trevor to Mac. And I thought he had really good moments in training camp. But then when he's had the opportunity, and the whole reason why you traded for him is that, if he has an opportunity to play, then you're looking at getting a return on investment here, okay? An ROI for a player that could end up getting you a better compensatory pick than you gave up in the trade. That's the entire goal. I mean, right now, do you guys think that you're going to get an ROI?
I don't think you're going to get any compensatory pick for him. I mean, he may be. I can't imagine somebody bringing him in with the idea of he's competing for the starting.
Well, and I think that was the intention here.
Sure, no, I get it, but I mean, based on what we've seen, I can't.
I don't think anybody's going to offer him.
Not under these circumstances.
Money,
no. I mean, he'd probably go somewhere and be somebody's backup.
And here's, I think, the part that look, he's still got a couple games to go. And I hope he plays well. Local guy. Like him. Hope he plays well. I always root for him. You got 3 games to go. And if he can play well these last 3 games, maybe he improves his standing.
Well, that'll, be the last impression you have of him.
Maybe.
So,
potentially. And you hope that that's the case. But, right now it's not trending in that direction. And here's the one thing that a lot of times when a backup quarterback, like, the Raiders last night, and the Jaguars have lost some guys with injury, right? You got Evan Ingram out, and you got Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis. Well, the reality is Gabe Davis didn't really do anything anyway, so there's really no loss there. Christian Kirk was a loss. Parker Washington is pretty good replacement with Christian Kirk, right? Brent Strange, pretty good replacement for Evan Ingram. So it's not like that Mac Jones is playing with a cast of characters that are just, garbage. They're okay. And the offensive line arguably is playing their best that they have all year long for Mac Jones here at this point. That's what I believe. I'm watching them, and I think they're playing winning football.
I think PFF, Tony, had Walker Little number 1 on the Jags this week, if I'm not mistaken. The highest graded player overall.
Played well.
For the team.
Played well. Missed that one snap, came back, and, give him credit. He's playing well.
All right.
Ezra Cleveland's playing well. Brandon Sheriff's playing well.
Yeah.
Well, Morse has fallen off a little bit. Anton continues to be the one guy that's not playing as well as everybody else.
Is that baffling to you with Anton, or?
Sure. he's got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And last year you kind of, after playing all year hurt, you were thinking, man, wait till he gets healthy. He's going to be really good. And
he still may be.
Yeah, and totally. I haven't lost any confidence that Anton Harris is going to be a good football player. But right now he's not.
Yeah, he's got to do it, though.
He's a okay player, okay? But you don't draft somebody in the first round to be okay.
Understood. All right, we've got Jeff Lageman here, obviously. A Check the Tape Tuesday already underway. You can submit your questions in a variety of manners if you want to get in with a phone call at 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. You can do that same number for the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hit us up in the YouTube virtual studio chat, or on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at Logs56, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
That's Coach Denmark to all of you out there. All right, so let's get our questions rolling here for Jeff Lageman, looking back on what went wrong and what went right for the Jaguars against the New York Jets this week. And we'll look ahead a little bit to next week's opponent who played last night, the Las Vegas Raiders, who had two legitimate throws into the end zone last night from 35 yards. If Robert Spillane doesn't get a roughing the passer penalty with about 2:45 left in the game, they'd have had all the time they needed to go down and win that football game. But they, like the Jaguars, continue to find new and exciting ways to shoot themselves in the proverbial foot. So you know the ways to get on board on the program today. Let's take advantage of Jeff Lageman here on a Check the Tape Tuesday. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods, and happy to report the Thompson family is always restocking the fresh case at your area gate stations on a daily basis with the highest quality goods made with the highest quality, often locally sourced ingredients that you can find. Fantastic variety. You know they're super fresh, and they always keep the prices reasonable as well. I'm talking about a great line of sandwiches and subs like the hot roast beef and provolone, the Italian combo that'll absolutely melt in your mouth, the all-white meat spicy buffalo chicken. Of course, they got the big old juicy classic 100% beef cheeseburger. All those options served on fresh ciabatta bread, which is baked locally, delivered daily. I'm partial to the tuna salad myself, but you can go find your own favorite, and trust me, you'll be a dandy lifer like me. A Jacksonville-based family with a Jacksonville-based company. When you're hungry in Duval, folks, the solution is easy. Do what I do. Go out and make yours a dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL, he is our quarterback savant, and he'll take you inside his mind.
So you can learn more about the science of quarterbacking.
Denny Thompson is the Quarterback Whisperer. Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjax.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
We're H-A-P-P-Y, H-A-P-P-Y, because Happy Honda Days are here. Everything is bigger. Bigger selection, bigger discounts, bigger trade-in values. Honda, quality, value, safety. Don't miss Happy Honda Days, going on now at your local Honda dealer.
Football's heating up. The NBA is back. And on Hard Rock Bet, you can bet every sport. Even combine all your sports into one bet. One Florida bettor put $50 on a combo parlay and won more than $100,000. And they tacked on another $10,000 to that win with a daily profit boost. Promos every day for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. Win your first bet or get up to $100 back in bonus bets. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hey, Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more, and please drink responsibly.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. It's never fun to have a septic issue on Christmas Day. So go ahead and call Duck Duck Rooter and have your septic tank pumped out today.
904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
as soon as possible
at 641-1010.
Come on, admit it. Almost everyone you know seems to be playing pickleball now, right? So whether you just want to learn how to play or you're ready to show off your elite pickleball skills, the Y is the place for you. Visit our brand new McGuire Family Pickleball Center at the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach. 5 top-quality outdoor courts and 3 amazing indoor courts, where you can learn about dinks, dill ball, falafel, the kitchen, and more pickleball slang at the Y.
This is Chelsea with Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. Here's what people are saying about working with us.
Installers were professional, courteous, and efficient.
Great customer service. On time, explained the process, and walked me through the installation. Amazing team.
Our experience with Renewal by Anderson was outstanding from the beginning to end.
Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com.
License number CGC 1527613.
Renewal by Anderson, custom windows and doors.
This is Hayes Carline for SkyLife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at SkyLife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. SkyLife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332. Go to flyskylife.com and find them on social media. Fly SkyLife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
My name's Jim. I'm 53 years old. There should be options in life, like ways to lose weight. Medications now feel like the only option. I mean, it sounds like a guarantee. I do have friends who have lost weight with them. I tried holding off. I did other diets, but I was miserable. I'd rather be fat and happy. The problem was I wasn't happy fat. I was about to start the meds, but then I heard of Awaken 180's GLP-1 program. Turned out it does the same thing as the meds without injecting myself for life. It absolutely worked. I dropped 45 pounds. I'm now in maintenance, and I feel better than my friends who are still on the meds. Listen, I barely know what GLP-1 is. What I do know is Awaken 180 worked for me, and I was far from miserable doing it.
Thanks, Jim. You all know our success with Awaken 180, and now with Awaken 180's GLP-1 balance, you address the root causes of weight issues. Do it naturally, then keep it off. Awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
Song choice.
It's not bad.
Love it.
Yeah, you're a big Guns N' Roses guy?
A little bit. Saw him at Madison Square Garden live one time. It was pretty cool.
All right. I mean, I was into Guns. Appetite for Destruction was like a perfect album,
Yeah.
Like one of those you play the whole thing, flip it over, you play the whole.
Yeah, let it roll.
For kids, you don't flip over your digital music, I understand, but we flip the cassette over. Or maybe just let the CD roll.
Yeah,
all the way.
No, I
through.
totally agree. There's not a whole lot of albums like that, but that's one of them.
Yeah. I mean, look, everything's personal preference, right? So, whatever the case. All right, welcome in and continue to dig into a Check the Tape Tuesday here. Logs. Why is Jordan Jefferson not playing? We had a question about that.
Great question. But you can only have so many active defensive linemen on game day, and kind of curious that, at the beginning of the year, kind of said this at the beginning of the year as well, was that I was surprised at the number of defensive tackles that they kept. And one of them ended up not being used as a defensive tackle, so it changed a little bit, but it was still kind of the same thing. And that's Eric Armstead, which now we've seen he's just playing edge for the most part. And, Otomewo, Ledbetter, who else was in there? Jordan Jefferson, Devon Hamilton. I mean, there's a lot of guys, right? And usually when you keep that number of guys, I mean, that means you're pretty good at that position, but we haven't been good. So kind of surprised that they kept the number of players at that position. And so to answer the question, the original question, which is why is Jordan Jefferson not active? I don't know the answer to that. Maybe they don't feel good about him playing. And I don't know. I thought he was a strong player and he's a young player. I mean, if you're going to play young players in other positions, like Doug talked about playing, DeAndre Prince a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Don't you want to get a look at what you got, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
the only way I don't think the only way it gets better, but the best way to improve is to be out there in these games down the stretch.
Well, so if you have him active, then who is going to be inactive? That's kind of the choice that you're at, or the decision where you're at. And here's the thing that I think you could make an argument. You've had two guys. There were two guys on this past game that didn't even play snap that were active, and that's Darby and DeAndre Prince.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you're not going to play them at all, then do you
need them both?
Do you need them both active, and do you maybe put Jordan Jefferson up? Because, I mean, first of all, if Darby's not going to play, it's not really a good sign. He was a free agent signing, and if he's not playing, then why even have him active?
Well, I mean, you got to have some depth in case you have an injury, I suppose, would be their point of view.
I get it, and that's where you have DeAndre Prince, and you also have the ability of Antonio Johnson to play nickel. So just kind of curious, but I mean, yeah, if you're going to have Jordan Jefferson active, then somebody else has to go down. And if you were just making a decision on which defensive lineman would you put down for that, well, if you put Devon Hamilton down, it doesn't look very good because he's kind of a high pay guy, right?
And he played well this week.
Yeah, he played well. I thought he played well. Ledbetter played pretty well.
Did you think Ledbetter had the backflip in him? Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I didn't
and I'm just glad he didn't break his toes because he almost didn't get all the way around.
He almost didn't, but he did.
Yeah.
I much more athletic than I've ever been in my life.
I wouldn't
never
try
do a
that.
backflip.
I don't know if I would ever try that. I mean, if I was in my 20s, I might, but I'd have to do it like on a gymnastic, big soft
I think that's one of those things you got to start when you're younger. Doing flips into the pool or whatever the case may be. Because I had a girlfriend in college who tried to teach me how to do like front handsprings and stuff like that.
I'm just glad that somebody else got to the multi-sack level on this roster.
No.
So that's made me kind of do backflips. Is that you got another guy that's got 2 sacks? And, so now he's the only guy on the roster that has multiple sacks besides Trayvon and Josh.
Be nice if we had a team that could produce more than 1 sack in a game. No,
I'm all for it.
What did you think of the edge rushers in particular? Obviously, they didn't get to Aaron Rodgers, but were they creating pressure? Were they collapsing the pocket at all? I know Rodgers had to step up and obviously take off running, ran more than he has in a good number of years, at least in terms of yardage that he produced. So what did you make of Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon watching the film?
Just okay. To be honest, I mean, disappointed. I was hoping that Josh would be able to take advantage of Fashanu, which is their first-round pick out of Penn State.
I saw Jets Twitter raving about his performance
this
week.
The week before against Miami gamed the hell out of him, and we didn't.
Meaning what? They give him different looks, different.
Well, Fashanu had a bad habit the week before in that he was getting real wide with his sets, and so he was detaching himself away from the guard a lot. Tackles can set kind of. Sully could probably explain this way better than I can because he lived it. But tackles, the way they can set deep and then width. Like the perfect set's like 45 degrees, right? Off of the line of scrimmage. Sometimes when you're maybe a tackle's expecting a game, a lot of times they want to stack it. So instead of 45 degrees, the tackle's setting more steep or going backwards more so that he can pass a game off or be prepared for a game. So he's essentially staying closer to the guard plane. And Fashanu was setting really wide against Miami and just inviting whether you want to run an ET or a TE, which are pass rush games. And we didn't do that hardly at all. And I thought that was a missed opportunity there because against Miami, it really showed as being an open spot to maybe take advantage of. And I thought Trayvon was really active as far as he was actually making some moves and some pass rush moves that I was like, damn, that's pretty quick. But it just didn't work because Morgan Moses is a good football player. Even though he came into the game with a little bit of a wrist, I think it was. Got a lot of respect for Morgan Moses. I think he's a tremendous football player, and he's been a good football player for a long time, and Trayvon had his hands full. Morgan Moses got the better of him that day.
Mason Smith played half the snaps.
Keeps getting reached.
A little bit down.
Yeah, keeps getting reached. I thought he was a little bit better in pass rush this week. I thought he had 2 pass rush moves that he influenced the pocket, made Aaron Rodgers move. But again, if you're averaging getting reached twice a game, that's not very good. Which means you're giving up something in the run, and that's like the last thing you should be doing is getting reached. It's fine if you're like on a guy and you're getting pushed and you're not getting off a block, but you can't get out of your gap. And he's gotten out of his gap, about two times a game about. So he's got to be better in that category. But he's young, and I think he's got great opportunity to get better. And during the broadcast, we were talking about him and how he's still learning and all that kind of stuff. And I brought up one name, Marcus Stroud, because at the end of Marcus Stroud's first year, there was a big question mark hanging over him. Was he good enough? Was he worth the first round pick? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of silly to think about that now that we actually had that question about Marcus Stroud. But some guys, it just takes them a little bit of time, and sometimes the big guys need a little bit of time.
One of the other big guys, and we'll move off the D-line at least for now, Eric Armstead played a season-low 22 snaps in this game. Did he flash on any of them?
No. No, he didn't have any impact in the game that I could tell. I didn't think he did.
So what are you doing with him moving forward? Regardless of who is making those decisions, his dead cap hit is huge next year. Right?
Yeah,
he's going to be here.
Yeah, I just, for me, again, I've been saying this. I'm not sure why he's playing edge. He's just not an edge. He's played defensive end in his career, but that's like defensive end in a 3-4. Mm-hmm. This is a 4-3. So you either play tackle or you play edge. You don't play end, which is kind of an edge, in a 3-4. It's totally different. I just kind of, I don't know. It's a little curious to me as to why, he's playing edge. When, they really don't have that threat of speed, and I've said this before, and I know I kind of may sound like a broken record, but I think, as an edge player, the one thing that you have to have is that you have to have the threat of speed, because that's the name itself, right? Edge, to threaten the edge. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have that speed to threaten the edge. And a lot of times he stops his feet on contact as a pass rusher. And as an edge player, you can't do that. As a defensive tackle, you can stop and start because you're in a tight area and you don't want to get moved. But as an edge player, you keep going. And that's not what he does. He doesn't keep his body moving in a forward manner. And just for me, he's out of position. I think on the year, I don't remember exactly how many snaps he has, but it's somewhere in the name of, 450-ish, something like that.
How about 446?
Okay.
That's the exact number.
One sack, right?
Yes.
20 tackles, somewhere in that range.
Probably so.
The output's really not impactful.
That sack came in week 1.
Yeah, that's not the impact that you're looking for.
We're all excited when he got that sack. Sign of things to come. Big things to come. Not the case. 446. The Devon Hamilton, the only defensive tackle, and I'm using the air quotes on that because we know Armstead's not always utilized like that, or primarily not utilized like that. Hamilton's played 519 on the defensive line. Ledbetter next to 360. Then you get to Mason Smith at 243. Jordan Jefferson's played 117 snaps. He's only been active for 6 games right in the middle of the season. He's been inactive for a good chunk of the year. So that's where we're at on the defensive line. When we come back, let's talk about some of the positives, and namely Brian Thomas Jr. and Brenton Strange in the passing game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a Check the Tape Tuesday. If you've got a specific question for Jeff, hit us up on social media or on the Garber Automall phone lines at 641-1010. It's a Check the Tape Tuesday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split. No matter what the temperature is outside, you want that temperature regulated beautifully inside. When your AC goes out, you need help now, like right now, like Lickety Split. So call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC. Now, look, you've probably seen their trucks all over town. They've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but they'll take care of your home's plumbing and electrical, too. When you want it done right and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split with a 4.8 average on Google reviews, online at licketysplitfl.com.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
Do the Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle. It's the time of year all our customers love. At Garber Automall, every 2024 must go. Take advantage of thousands in discounts on all new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Ford. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Automall, there's always a little room for wiggle. Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience
continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dine in with beer and wine, and delivery at Salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
Hey folks, Dave Binion here with Zero Res. At Zero Res, we love rugs. We will treat your fine Oriental rugs with the tender and loving care they deserve. Gerard, the Zero Res rug manager, is one of the few certified master rug cleaners in Florida. If you want your rugs cleaned with tender loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, get your rugs washed and we will give you 25% off. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
What to get, friends, family, and loved ones this holiday? Prosser here, listen to the drill. Now through Christmas to win gifts from our holiday gift guide sponsors. Each winner eligible to win a grand prize of $1,000 in jewelry from Beard's Diamonds.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. Every year we have gentlemen come in with the same problem. They just don't know what to buy their wife for Christmas. Well, one thing we can start off telling them is they've come to the right place because at Underwoods it's been our business since 1928 to keep in our stores what ladies want to own. We have a professional credentialed staff that'll treat you the way you expect to be treated, and they can really help solve your problem. We have North Florida's finest collection of diamond jewelry, an extensive collection of pearls. You might be interested in seeing some of the hot new designer jewelry pieces from names like David Yurman, John Hardy, or Roberto Coin. If it's a watch you want, we carry Rolex and other watches that are considered the best. And the one thing you'll love and she'll recognize is the hand-wrapped silver package with a satin ribbon our gifts come in. So make this a Christmas to remember. At Underwoods in San Marco, Avondale, or the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Get even more savings this holiday season by becoming a Milo's Rewards member. Don't miss new member deals dropping every week, like $15 off a purchase of $50 or more on select Bounty, Charmin, and Puffs paper products. Plus, get free standard shipping with Silver Key status. Just one more way Lowe's is here to help you shop, save, and enjoy the holidays. Join for free today. Milo's Rewards program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change. Exclusions and more terms apply. Visit Lowe's.com/shipping terms for details.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club is an attractive destination for golfers all over the Southeast. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that will test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window World,
simply the best for less.
And thank you for your business.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
The Jaguars are now 3-11 with 3 games left in the season. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson on the task of keeping the team focused.
It becomes a challenge.
But I'll tell you, the guys have really, I haven't seen it yet, any sort of disconnect. And obviously that falls on my shoulders, right? To make sure that doesn't happen and just continue to lean on the guys, the leadership guys. And we got 3 games. You want to be able to go out and play well and win these 3 games and, a chance each Sunday. But I haven't seen that yet, and that's positive for the guys in the locker room.
Doug Peterson on Monday, courtesy of Jaguars.com, with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update. I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, Check the Tape Tuesday rolls on with Jeff Lageman. Wasn't all bad for the Jaguars. Obviously, the performance of Brian Thomas Jr. was a highlight, and his season continues to be a highlight for the Jags.
Hey, just 1 second here,
Yes.
Mike. I mean, where's my Modelo 12-pack appearing? I mean, isn't that supposed to show
That when you
up
hear
with
that music, Dylan's supposed to bring you a cold one.
Yeah, what's
at
the
least
deal?
a cold one, Dylan.
I got one next week, dog.
Come on, Dylan.
You know who would have brought you a cold one? Pockets. Pockets would have brought you.
Who's
a cold
that?
one. I don't know.
I don't know
the old
anybody by that
producer.
name.
The old producer, but Dylan not. He's got business. He's a full-time producer now. Congratulations, by the way, Dylan.
Does a mighty fine
Thank you,
job,
sir.
I must
You're
say.
welcome. And there are a lot of behind-the-scenes staff changes going on here that I won't bore you with, but a lot of folks getting promoted or different roles and things like that, and
getting good titles.
I'm
And
sure
extra
they're
pay.
wondering when I'm getting cut, and then keep wondering, and so am I. But knock on wood, baby. All right.
Can I get a title on all this reorganization?
Can you get a title?
Am I just film room guy?
You're the film room guy. Yeah. What else would you be? I don't
You're
know.
our, Brian Baldinger, the NFL Films guy.
Loggy's breakdowns.
By the way, Baldy's great. I love him.
By the way, would it be with the Jags? Would it just be Loggy's letdowns? Not that you're letting us down, but it's more of a look at how the Jags are letting us down.
Oh goodness,
on a weekly basis.
I didn't say that.
I did. It's all right. I don't. It's fine. I mean, everyone knows it came out of my mouth. I mean, come on.
I actually, Mike, this week I was really positive. I found some great stuff on film to show. I did.
You mean coming out of this game?
Yeah.
Right. Well,
I mean, 85-7.
Well, let's get to 7. We'll start there, okay?
Sure.
It goes back early in his Jaguars career. I don't know, halftime of last week when they decided, we need to really get this guy the football, right? And
great idea.
I've been calling for like 12 targets a game, and then I'm like, oh, sure. They throw him to him twice in the first half, but then they made up for it. This game, they exceeded it, and they went with 14. They went early, they went often, and with great success. Couple of touchdowns, went over 100 yards, Logs. Just give us an overview of how Brian Thomas has come along this season, what you attribute it to.
He's the best player they got on their football team right now, and the offense runs through him. If he doesn't have plays, then it doesn't seem that there are points that end up happening. Now, I thought they did a great job this week, which we should have done more and more often earlier in the year as well, but they got him the ball on the 4th play of the game, so that was really good. And then on the 6th play of the game, and this is offensively speaking, it was a 3rd and 7. It's a little quick wide receiver screen to Brian, and he converts it, keeps the drive alive. And then, obviously he ends up getting a great matchup, getting his first touchdown in the ball game. And what the hell were the Jets doing in coverage on that play? Did you go back and watch that first touchdown that he had?
Yeah, but I don't know if I can recall it with that specificity.
Picture this. The Jets line up with I believe it was a safety on Brian Thomas Jr. So he's in the slot, right side, runs the crossing route, right, runs away from the guy.
Sure.
It was a safety. So you maybe want to put Sauce Gardner on Brian
How
Thomas
much
Jr.?
was Sauce on him in the game? Some.
But on every big play, he wasn't. Like on that touchdown play, you know what they did with Sauce? They're sending him off the corner, on the edge, on the other side, is like a blitzer. Dude, put the safety over there, let him blitz, and put Sauce Gardner on Brian Thomas Jr. But, I mean, it was stupidity as far as schematics go for the New York Jets. But, I mean, great for the Jaguars, right? I mean, you got a mismatch with somebody trying to cover Brian Thomas Jr., who's a safety, and not a good safety at that. I was shocked, totally shocked. But he just ran away from it. And then the other touchdown that he had in the game, think about this in your mind. They actually have a corner that they had signed that week off of their practice squad, lined up on Brian in man coverage with a safety that moves over to the top. The corner, because you got safety over the top help, don't let Brian release inside, right? Brian goes inside on a beautiful release, just like Devontae Adams has been doing for years. I almost got the opinion that Brian was watching Devontae's release and stole it for that play, cuts to the inside, and by that point, the corner has no chance. Brian's speed that makes the safety's angle wrong to even make a play, and then he's in the end zone. He's so good.
What does he need the most work on right now?
Nothing. Getting the ball. I mean, just keep feeding him the ball. He's got speed. He's got great hands. You know, I mean, you could nitpick and say, you know, hey, look, you know, high point in the ball could be better for him. There's been a couple opportunities this year on a back shoulder throw, and he didn't high point the ball. But elite speed, great hands, and hands that are so far above anybody else on deep balls. There's a lot of guys that have a hard time tracking a deep ball and then, you know, adjusting their body. For Brian, it's just like second nature. You know, I kind of joke around that, you know, we had our broadcast meeting, you know, our guys, me and Frank and Tony and Pat and Dave and all this and Bucky. And I'd made the comment, I think this is the greatest. This was early in the season before it even started pretty much. And I said that I think Brian Thomas Jr. is the greatest deep threat we've had since Jimmy Smith. They all kind of laughed at me.
I haven't had many great ones.
No, it's not like it's a bar as high.
No,
you know?
Jimmy said the same thing.
He did?
You know?
Yeah.
So I want an apology from my broadcast guys.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
let's see if I can
that's
get
not
that
coming.
No.
How do you think he does? I think he's like, he doesn't always look the most fluid when he gets those quick wide receiver screens, but I think he does a nice job weaving in and out of traffic.
Yeah, the guys that are super athletic are the ones that make it look easy. And he's one of those guys that just makes it look effortless. You know, I mean, you sit there and you go, well, he's not getting hit. So he is pretty elusive, and the angles are always bad from defenders because his speed and his acceleration, and he's tough. I mean, that's the thing I like about him is that he's tough. You know, he played through some injury this year, willing to take some shots, and he's got a fieriness to him that you would have never have known talking to him for hours. Love it.
How would you feel if, you know, the value compared to the other players on the board was right or in the right range in terms of the Jags spending a top 10 pick on a receiver next year? I know they have a lot of needs at a lot of places, but, you know, Gabe Davis, I don't think anybody's going to be excited to see what he does in year two. Christian Kirk's getting older. He and Evan Ingram are getting, you know, to the point where their contracts are a little unwieldy. How would you feel about that? Like, let's lean into this position and try to give as much help as we can to the guy we signed to be our franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I know where you're going and what you're thinking there. And is it a bad idea? No. But I'm a big believer in that you got to be more physical and consistently physical with this team. So whether you spend that draft pick, and obviously the ratings or the grades of the players are going to determine this, because you're not going to pick a wide receiver that has an 8.0 and there's an offensive lineman on the board that's got a 9.9. You just throw numbers out.
Of course not.
Yeah. So
well, I'm saying if like the grades are even or within, like it's maybe the receiver's an 8.0 and the lineman's a 7.9. You know, because sometimes I do think that they blur the, you know, nobody's drafting strict best player available, because then you'd be taking quarterbacks when you already taking quarterbacks. And so when they say that, it's not down the line that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that, look, could you make an argument? I wouldn't be opposed to it. To answer the question, no, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Would I be in favor of it? Not necessarily. I just think you've got to need to make sure that your guys up front are better, because you're old in front with your center and your right guard. And then you need to elevate your tackle play. When I say elevate your tackle play, even make it more competitive, I'm not saying you take a first-round pick at an offensive tackle, but if it's there and he's a great one, sure. Defensive tackle is a position that needs to be
But
addressed.
what do you do if you take an offensive tackle in the top 10?
Play him at guard.
Okay. I mean, is that a guarantee that if you're a good tackle prospect, you can play guard? Because clearly they've locked in on who they think their tackles are going to be.
Yeah, and I know everybody kind of goes back to point to Jonathan Ogden and all that kind of stuff, and that was just, I mean, he's just an absolute freak of nature.
Right, he did it, though.
But he did it, and
I think some guys are built for that, and
some can, some
others
maybe can't.
not necessarily, right?
Yeah, it's something that you would consider. But, look, I don't think you're ever wrong in investing in helping protect your quarterback. When your quarterback has essentially $250 million invested in him.
All right, we'll get back to that train of thought, but let's see what Dean's got on his mind. On the South Side, checking in on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Dean, you're on Jaguars Today. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a good listen to you, Jeff. I always like your insight into the National Football League. But I wanted to talk to you about quarterback development. The broadcasters made a comment last night that Sam Darnold did a lot of learning under San Francisco year he spent out there with 49ers and Shanahan and trying to learn it. It's kind of developed. How do you feel about quarterback development? I mean, it just seems to me like every week on 10-10 we hear Denny Thompson talk about these guys, everything in a bag of potato chips, and then they get to the pros and they struggle. And that was one of the comments last night was that the quarterbacks just have a hard time with pro defenses, even though they do well in college. They just have a hard time adjusting to the disguises and the different looks that they give them in the pros.
Well,
what's your comment on that?
Dean, I think the one thing I'm a big believer in is that, look, a quarterback in his fourth year is not all of a sudden a finished product and he's arrived. And that's where Trevor's at right now, going to be going into year 5 next year. But he's missed a lot of playing time. He had a wasted year with Urban Meyer, which didn't help things much, but I'm not pinning any of this on that. I'm just saying this has been part of the process. So I still think he's younger than the years that he's got in. Sam Darnold's a guy that many people essentially gave up on. And he continued to learn. He continued to work at his craft. And I think this year it's showing. Is he a polished, hands-down, true fire franchise quarterback? I think the debate on that would be no. But it shows that a guy can continue to get better and get better and get better no matter what year he is at. And at some point, probably which is year 6, year 7, I mean, the point of diminishing returns has already come and gone. But with a young quarterback like Trevor, I think there's still a lot of growth to be made. And also, I think growth to be made around him. And when I say that, make things better around him. Make the offensive line better. Make the run game better. You look at what Harbaugh's doing in L.A. with Justin Herbert, making him a lesser part of the importance of the offense because they're relying more on defense, relying more on running the football. There's nothing wrong with that. You go back to Tom Brady in his early days. I mean, it's not like he was the Tom Brady that we've come to know when he won his first Super Bowl. They were kind of protecting him, playing really good defense and running the football. And some of that can be a great opportunity to learn from for Trevor Lawrence. So get things better around him and not put so much pressure on him to perform week in and week out.
Geno Smith, his first 2 years in the league, had 25 total touchdown passes and 34 interceptions. Then went 6 seasons where he didn't start more than 3 games and usually didn't start any games, right? Then in his age 32 season, he started every game for Seattle, led the league in completion percentage, nearly 70%, and has not been the best quarterback in the league, but he's certainly not been the worst quarterback in the league. And I'm not saying that Geno Smith is the level that you're trying to get Trevor Lawrence to, and that's acceptable because he's the number 1 overall pick. I'm just talking about different guys have different paths, and I'm not saying I want to see Trevor Lawrence go
we don't
6
see
down
that
years, right? I get it, but my point is, here's a guy, Rich Gannon became league MVP at the age of like 35 or 36 or 37, whatever it was.
We're talking about Trevor Lawrence going into year 5 next year, and it's not like the first 4 years of his career he's had no success at any time on the field, right? Like there are things to build off of that he has had success doing already in the league. 2022, I know there are some fans that want to let this go into the ether like it never happened. He got an MVP vote, right? Like after that season, he got an MVP vote.
He had a stretch in that year that was fantastic. I mean, simply fantastic.
Yeah.
And, I look at one thing. I think you bring up Geno Smith. A lot of quarterbacks have to mature. Geno Smith, I think, had to be humbled a little bit. Came in kind of thinking that he was all of this and all of that. Ended up getting his jaw broken. I think that was really a life-changing experience for him. And I think he probably learned a lot from that whole situation and getting away from that, not being the man. And I'm not saying that Trevor needs to have anything like that, because Trevor has a level of maturity that, I just have great respect for.
Yeah, different guys do it different ways. Yeah, Baker was
himself.
super successful his rookie year. Then it kind of fell apart there for a couple years in Cleveland. He was gone. Then he was just a traveling man for a year or two. He landed in Tampa, and he's been what he's been. The last couple of years in Tampa, where they're looking at it saying, yeah, this could be our guy for the next 10 years. At that position. No one thought that 4 years ago that Baker was going to get a second chance of that, but he's gotten it, and he's taken full advantage of it. Different guys develop different ways. Talking about Trevor like he can't develop or take the next step, I think is a little bit silly at this point in his career.
Yeah, that's not a little bit silly.
Yeah,
Tony.
we had someone on the text
silly.
line ask him when they can get away from him, and I'm like, well, the contract says 2030 at the earliest. What's your point? Right? Like, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be the quarterback here for the next 5 years. He just is.
And I'm okay with that.
The Panthers, by the way, had both Darnold and Baker run through there.
Yeah, well, they're...
Yeah.
I know. That just goes to show you.
Carolina's a mess.
Right, but, if they had better football people, better
talent around the
better
quarterback.
talent and better developmental coaches to bring a quarterback along. Obviously those guys had the raw material to be a lot better than what they showed with the Carolina Panthers. So, you look back now, what would Cleveland give to go, just bite the bullet, stick with Baker, and never have gone down the Deshaun Watson road? Obviously you can't,
what were they
do that.
What were they thinking?
They were thinking Baker just wasn't good enough, and they were desperate, and Deshaun was going to Atlanta, and, Haslam just had to have his guy, I suppose.
It's not like that stuff wasn't out.
The stuff, the
allegations.
It wasn't at the time he signed the deal.
Oh, there was a, what's the term? There was an awareness of that.
Or rumblings.
Yes.
Maybe. I don't recall anything being, rumored about on social media or anything like that at the time. So
I think there was an awareness, but they at that point they chose to believe there was really nothing to be seen here.
Maybe so. All right, we got to take a break. If you're on the line, a little patience. Stay right there. We'll get to you when we come out of this one here, halfway home on a Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman in studio on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Get inside the mind of Jags coach Doug Peterson.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't have butterflies.
Coach Speaks. Fridays at 4:05 on The Franchi Show.
I want to win.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents in the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Jeremiah Ledbetter was an absolute force defensively for Jacksonville. The 6'3" defensive tackle produced one sack for the Teal and Black in what was a dominant showing. He had such a great performance that many flipped over how great it was. Jeremiah Ledbetter is your Superior Fence and Rail's defensive player of the game.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
The best teal-colored coverage includes Mia's Quick Hits.
Get the latest news from inside the building and around the league. I'm Mia O'Brien, 1010XL's NFL Insider.
Driven by Arlington Toyota. Available on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Truck drivers. Without them, our economy would stop. They're constantly racing against time, struggling against exhaustion, and being put under enormous pressure from their bosses, the big trucking companies. This can be a major reason for an accident. Discovering who's at fault can be difficult. We can help. Put our big truck experience to work for you. Call Farah and Farah. Jacksonville.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
I got the perfect holiday gift for you. At the Blue Crab House, you spend $50, you get a $65 gift card. $50 and you get $65. Bam, the pressure's off. Located right off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road, open every day until 9 except for Monday. Get rid of the stress of holiday shopping right now at the Blue Crab House. Spend $50 and get a $65 gift card only at the Blue Crab House.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Projax Roofing. Florida will play in the Gasparilla Bowl on Friday, December 20th, facing Tulane. Gator head coach Billy Napier knows they face a dangerous opponent.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago, they beat Southern Cal in the bowl game. Obviously, they played Kansas State really tough. This year, Coach Summerall is one of the best kind of up-and-coming young coaches.
On Monday, red-shirted senior quarterback DJ Uyungale announced he was declaring for the 2025 NFL Draft UNF after one season in Tallahassee. UNF women's basketball dominated Coastal Georgia on Monday evening, winning 70-38. UNF men's basketball completes a home-and-home with UNC Asheville tonight at 6:30 when the Ospreys will take on the Bulldogs in Asheville, North Carolina. At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11:01, it's 72 degrees. Time at 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman is brought to you by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, we're here to collaborate and listen to Jeff Lageman on a Check the Tape Tuesday. I see Logs bobbing his head over there.
Oh, yeah.
Little Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, I'm a big Ice fan.
Are you? Modelo on ice? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's about right.
All right, 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. Thanks for your patience. Let's get back to it. Bill on the south side is next up. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, fellas. My question is about Trevor Lawrence. So now that he's done for the year, what do you think is the next step for Trevor Lawrence next year? Like, what steps should he just take? And that one question is also about Trevor is, do you think he's going to start running less since the injury? Like, you think he's going to be scared to run, or he's going to know better to slide?
I don't think he's going to be. The injury is going to impact him going forward. I mean, he'll heal up and then he'll be good to go. And the area that he needs to improve on, I mean, quarterbacks always have to improve on accuracy and awareness, situational awareness. And Trevor's no exception to that. And he needs to continue to work to get better at those two areas and other areas, keeping ball security when he's in and around the pocket, which he did a dramatically better job this year of making sure that he was protecting the ball. But just continue to grow in those categories. And like I said before, they need to get better around him. Better offensive line play, better commitment to the running game, which started to happen and did happen at times this year. And then also not making it all about the quarterback all the time, making it more about the offense. And like I said before, that's what Harbaugh did with the Chargers, and some of that would be good for the Jaguars. Particularly like last year. When Trevor got hurt last year, they still were very quarterback dependent. And in a situation like that, it would be nice to maybe take the pressure off of that position, knowing that the player's hurt, and to have the ability to play a different style, like run it more, to maybe quick game, just to change things up, to take pressure off of the one guy.
All right, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Steve in Melbourne next up here on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Hello, Steve.
Oh, and by the way, maybe play better defense to help him out.
Good morning, guys. I just wanted to piggyback off of Log's thoughts on Brenton Strange. I mean, like Mike said, Evan Ingram's getting a little longer in the tooth. He still performs at a high level.
To be clear, I don't think Evan Ingram's anywhere close to the end. So just to be fair.
Well, no, but I understand what you're saying contract-wise or whatever. But you look at the difference. Evan Ingram, you can consider him more of a receiver type. And I've been with Logs the entire time with Brenton Strange, and he's shown it more and more every opportunity he's got. I think of him as more of a all-around tight end, not at the high level, but similar play style of a George Kittle or a Rob Gronkowski. He's a physical blocker, and when he gets the ball in his hands, he runs with a little bit of authority. And I just like that direction. I just wanted to get your thoughts if that was a decision, if you were a GM to make. Could that be a possibility of, okay, this contract might be a little steeper, but I got a guy here that I know can do a very good job given the opportunities he's shown this year?
All right, so the first answer to that is hell no, I'm not getting rid of Evan Ingram. I mean, and here a couple reasons. Number one, tough, physical, willing blocker, and committed and reliable. I'm not getting rid of those players. I mean, those are the players that help you win. The one thing that is different about an Evan Ingram versus a Brenton Strange, the opponents treat Evan Ingram as a wide receiver. They don't treat him as a tight end. So schematically, a lot of times you're not getting the advantage with Evan as a, quote, tight end on the field. And Evan is a tight end. Like he just said, he's a blocker. He's physical. By the way, this week I'm doing a little package on Brenton Strange that will be on Jaguars YouTube. He had a block in this ball game on Hassan Reddick. I mean, pancaked him. Drove him down the field, 5 yards, in the end zone, pancakes him. We're talking about Hassan Reddick. I mean, buried him, and then was real physical the rest of the way. And then he brought up a point about how physical he is once he catches the ball. I mean, look, I've been tooting his horn for 2 years now. Physical, tough, does everything he's asked to do, dependable, got good hands. I mean, what's not to like about that? But I'm not getting rid of Evan Ingram just because I have Brenton Strange that on the roster, and he's made one game with 11 catches. Hell yeah.
Well, you're allowed to. Why didn't we see more of that? Brenton Strange only plays, it seems like 50% of the snaps or more when Evan Ingram's not around.
I don't know the answer to that, and that's one of the things. I mean, when you lost Gabe and Christian, they remember that one game where you were down to, I think it was two wide receivers and Evan and Brenton, and that's what you played for the entirety of the game to finish it. And it worked pretty damn good. You're like, okay, well, maybe we just come back and run that personnel grouping next week a little bit. And then all of a sudden, I think that was a game which Brenton Strange only had maybe 9, 10, 15 snaps.
He had the one game where he had 9 snaps at one point. He had 18 the next week. He had, he played 69 snaps, which was 82% of the action this week. That doesn't seem right. That seems – how many offensive snaps did the Jags have in this game?
I don't remember. But I can tell you I'm finding a way to use him and keep him on the field because he's a good football player. He's tough as nails. And those players, like I said, just like Evan Ingram. Different players, though. Brenton Strange can move a defensive end. Evan Ingram can wall him off. Okay, 2 different types of players. Defenses treat Brenton Strange like a tight end. So schematically, him as a wide receiver can get some advantageous matchups on the field.
77 plays.
They had 77 plays in the game? All right, so, that maybe right. He played 69, 82%.
There was
because it lists Mac Jones is playing 84 snaps here at the site I'm looking at, which that can't be right. Anyway, go ahead.
There was 5 different catches. He had 11 catches in that ball game, right?
Yeah.
11 catches for 73. 5 of those plays, literally, he had 5 or more yards after the catch. So he was catching it very short, and you'd like to have a tight end that maybe the numbers are a little bit big. The number of yards is a little bit bigger, but, tight end's a tight end, and, that's kind of like a running game, right? If you're getting 5, 6, 7 yards a pop, it's okay. As long as you're, moving the chains. And I just I love the way he plays the game, and I love how once he gets the ball, rarely does anybody hit him, and then does he go down. When they hit him, most of you see the defensive backs getting up and adjusting their helmet because they're like, damn, that dude's he's hard. You know what I mean? When I say he's hard, there's a physical impact. There's certain guys that you hit that just have the ability of almost like being like a rock of granite. And I think he's one of those guys. He's just a strong player.
Just to go back to the wide receiver aspect of it, when you're filling out your complementary pieces here. We don't know. You've got Christian Kirk or Parker Washington. You've got a slot guy next year, right? Ingram and Strange and obviously Brian Thomas Jr. If you were going to add another receiver, what type of receiver is the best fit? You know what I mean? Do you want to just a big body, physical,
can I get another
red zone
Brian
presence?
Thomas?
Well, it'd be great if you. Well, sure, but they don't all grow on trees at 6'2" that can run 4.35.
You take any of them that can compete at a high level. I mean, whether it's a fast guy, a shifty guy, just somebody who's an ultimate competitor. If you sit there and you start shopping around for only one body type or one type of trait, then I think then you miss the boat on a lot of traits that can be highly successful.
I hear you. I'm just saying, in an ideal world, if you had your choice of several types of receiver, you have a preference?
I love the way that Gabe Davis was going to fit and thought he would really fit into this offense this year. a deep type of player, because if you look at his historic yards per catch, it's really good. But he's not a burner. He's physical. He's got a big body. I mean, I thought it was a really good fit for this offense. You got, shiftier Christian, the shiftier and strong Parker Washington. You have Brian Thomas that can take the top off of a defense. And then also now you add Gabe Davis, who's a guy that could get the ball in a deeper in deep, but get there in a different way. I thought it was a good fit, but obviously that didn't work out with Gabe, or didn't work out so far. There's still years ahead. We'll see.
We'll see. He's right. All right, we'll take a time out here if you want to get in, just like the last few, 641-1010 on the Garber Automall phone lines on a Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. When you don't want to wait till tomorrow for analysis of today's game, get it 2 hours after the final whistle. Hacker Leon and Coach Campo bring you the window world of Northeast Florida fifth quarter. Presented by Von Rowan Law and Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, visit one of the Florida Blue pop-up enrollment tents near you. They make the process easy and stress-free, with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Find a pop-up tent in the Rose parking lot on Beach Boulevard near Southside, and at Night of Wonders at the Orange Park Mall. Here's a reminder for Florida Blue members. You can access Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations around town offering primary care, walk-in services, an on-site pharmacy, and mental health support. 3 Sanitas Medical Centers and 2 convenient Florida Blue pop-up enrollment sites combined for a winning team in Northeast Florida insurance coverage.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation, with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Hey, Florida drivers, the holiday season is upon us. When celebrating, always plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Besides, a DUI could cost you $10,000. Not exactly the best gift you could give yourself. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Florida's weather is unpredictable. Don't let the epic chill catch you off guard. For reliable heating services, call Epic Cool Heating and Air. Keep your home cozy all season long. Call 904-859-EPIC, 904-859-3742.
Pick it here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
It's hard to stop the Tomahawk Chop.
I'm RJ Saunders. Follow Florida State's road to the college football playoff on the Seminole Report.
Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team on 1010XL.
Pick it here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Human trafficking destroys lives. You could do something to create hope this season. Make an end-of-the-year donation to Rethreaded. Your gift helps provide employment and support services for local survivors of human trafficking. Visit rethreaded.com and click on the tab to donate.
Homemade cookies baked fresh by Jen. Original 80s band named Ice Creams by Ray. Build your own cookie ice cream sandwiches from scratch. Cookies and Cream Jack's Beach. Open till 11 Friday and Saturday, 10 weekdays. Making our beach a better place. Cookies and Cream Jack's Beach.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
Googa Nation, it's Dreamfinder's Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinder's Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinder's home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinder's Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
A lot of Jags fans going to Vegas this week. Hope they have a good time out there. You know, hope they're careful with their budget and come back a winner. Right?
I'm not a big fan of Vegas.
But, no, I've only been once. I won $500 in blackjack, so I was a fan. I'm
not a gambler, but I like good food, and I hear there's some good food in Vegas at places.
If you like shows, they got all the shows.
Yeah,
man.
not a show fan.
No?
No.
Cirque du Soleil. Went to see Cirque du Soleil with my wife. It was phenomenal.
Aren't they all naked in that or something like that?
No. I don't know what Cirque du Soleil.
I'm sure there's shows out in Vegas where they are, but not Cirque du Soleil.
No, they're
just checking, Mike.
Fully costumed in that, but no, it was fantastic. Anyway, I'm not the kind of person, like I've done it once. I never go again.
Good.
Wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't hate the idea of it, but I'm not such a big.
If you would go in a casino, what game would you play?
Play blackjack.
Blackjack.
Yeah.
Do you know how all the
before I went, I asked on a radio show. I said, "Give me a few tips, basics of blackjack. Like always split your whatevers and double down here and hold whatever." And it was just some basic stuff. I couldn't recall it all now, but you could learn it again in 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I just stuck by that.
And
I got up $600, and I said, "You know what? I'm going to put $500 in this pocket, and if I lose this other $100, which I did, I'm going to walk away $500 richer." I just played like the $5 table.
Yeah, good.
That was it. So I'm no big gambler. I'm more for I love playing Texas Hold'em. I really do. I had a group of friends back in the 90s who used to play Texas Hold'em together all the time.
Yeah, those are fun.
But I would not go to Vegas and not know who's sitting across from me. I wouldn't go to the poker room and play Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know everybody's skill level and all that.
Texas Hold'em with your buddies, around the holidays when you've got your coin jars. That's fun to me.
Oh,
I would do that, but I'm not going to Vegas to gamble.
We always do dealer's choice, play Omaha, play
drink
Texas
some cold
Hold'em,
beer,
all that stuff.
Play some cards.
Or whatever. Maybe some Modelo on ice if we could get somebody to bring us some. All right, let's go around the National Football League.
Now, gems around the NFL Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Tests have shown that Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes is dealing with a mild high ankle sprain. He is being called week to week now. Kansas City has waived running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Detroit running back David Montgomery will miss the rest of the season due to a torn MCL that he suffered on Sunday. New Orleans running back Alvin Kamara is still undergoing further tests to determine the extent of a groin injury that he suffered this week. They are waiting further tests, but Seattle has not ruled out quarterback Geno Smith yet for this week. Baltimore is excusing wide receiver Deontay Johnson from team activities this week, a mutual agreement between Johnson and the team. Miami wide receiver Jalen Waddle avoided major injury on Sunday. He's considered day-to-day with a knee injury. Carolina wide receiver Xavier Leggett is week to week with a groin injury, but head coach Dave Canales said yesterday he is unlikely to go this week. Cincinnati defensive end Sam Hubbard has been ruled out for this week with a PCL injury that he suffered. Odell Beckham Jr. went unclaimed on waivers, so he is now a free agent. Tennessee head coach Brian Callahan said on Monday that he will take the next couple of days to determine whether Will Levis or Mason Rudolph will start this week for the Titans. Levis was benched during the second half on Sunday, and Cleveland head coach Kevin Stefanski said that he has not made a decision yet on whether Jameis Winston or Dorian Thompson-Robinson would start for them this week.
All those people that were waiting to play Jameis Winston in their fantasy semifinals with that matchup, now if he plays, you got to be fearful he throws a pick in the first quarter that he gets benched.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the worst possible situation to have him in. Somebody on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures says Elijah Cook's better than Gabe Davis. Well, that may one day turn out to be true, but we have no idea if Elijah Cooks is any good. He never does anything when he gets called up. I mean, I don't think they're holding him back to keep the other teams in the league from realizing what a weapon they have stashed on the practice squad. It may turn out to be that way, but that to me is somebody who is just dissatisfied with what they got out of Gabe Davis, because you can't know how good Elijah Cooks is.
No. And look, Elijah Cooks, I think there was plenty of opportunities for others around the league to find a belief in him, and nobody really did. Otherwise, he would have been taken off of their practice squad. So, I mean, he is what he is. I mean, he's still got to get better.
He's a guy who at times has flashed in the offseason, like many wide receivers that have come through Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, at times, because, I think the big part about him is that he's intriguing is because he's got the size.
Yeah.
When you talk about a guy who's, 6'4", 6'5", 220, I mean, you're like, wow, red zone target, special teams player because of his size. And, look, the reality is that he hasn't been able to beat out Tim Jones or anybody else for that roster spot. So, look, for the most part, coaches aren't stupid. I'm not saying that there aren't some in the National Football League that maybe not be as smart as others, but better players typically makes for job security, and you want to play the guys that are going to help you out win.
Well, usually I agree with you on that.
That's why I said
that's why sometimes it's head scratching with some of the decisions that get made. All right, 641-1010. Let's go back to the Garber Automall phone lines. Darren is up next here on Jaguars Today. Hi, Darren. How are you?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Jeff, I got a question for you from a future standpoint. You're a defensive guy and played a lot of years in the NFL. How is it going to affect the players that we have that we consider to be good players? If we clean house next year, which I think everybody's in favor of, isn't this going to be their fourth defense that they're supposed to be learning in the last 5 years, or fifth defense? I mean, how do you expect them to continue to grow? And I'll hang up and listen. I enjoyed the show.
Well, it's a great question, Darren. And look, I think the cloud is obviously kind of still hanging over this organization because the report that came out, prior to the bye week, and then, the reality is that this football team has lost a lot of football games. I mean, 4-16, I think, in the last 20 games is the reality. And I think when you have those kind of results, then the possible change is always going to be kind of mentioned when people talk about it. I think changing schemes on defense can be overrated because most teams are playing similar schemes. The verbiage on offense, I think, is the challenging part for quarterbacks to learn and to continue to get better. But defensively, I don't think there's much adjustment. I really don't. I think back to, I I played basically, my first year I played in one scheme. My second year I played in another under Pete Carroll. I didn't have any problem with the adjustment as far as getting the assignments and everything down. Most of my teammates did not either. I didn't think there was anything different about that. And then when we all came to Jacksonville, I thought we were all pretty assignment clean in 1995. In fact, I think we probably had some of the fewest mental errors of a team in the National Football League on the defensive side of the ball. So I think it's easier to change or to have change on the defensive side of the ball. On offense, you'd like to have a little bit of continuity with the quarterback.
Well, how do you then, when you've got a group that makes a lot of mental errors and a lot of busts and big plays allowed, how do you get them to be more disciplined in their play?
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, one, you teach it better, number one. Number two is that you study it better. Another way is to simplify things. But this defense, I think, is, for the most part, pretty simple. The other thing is to hold guys accountable. If player's not, doing the right thing week after week, you take them out and you put somebody else in. And I don't care if the player behind him is not as good, okay, because there's got to be a level of accountability. Getting different players, drafting better players that can handle the mental aptitude of playing defense. I mean, so all of those things are really kind of, in play when you sit there and say, well, how can it be fixed? But again, the number one thing to me is accountability. And accountability goes across all of it. I mean, coaches got to be accountable. The players got to be accountable. The production's got to be accountable.
All right, let's go through this quickly, okay? 4 guys on defense this offseason either got a brand new deal or got a restructured deal in the case of Foye Oluokun.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So it's just.
Which, by the way, just real quick on him, I still don't understand the move.
To the weak side.
Yes.
Yes. So you could factor that in. I'm just, based on what your expectations for each of them, let's go through how close are they? If like 100 is them giving you exactly what you expected, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the improvement and all that. Like, start with Josh Hines-Allen. Where's he at this year? You don't have to put it in a number, just however you want to phrase it.
Look, I think Josh has been fine, but the production hasn't been there, obviously, of what you want. But it's not all on Josh. I think it's also on some of your coverage. I think it's also on the production of your offense. To be great at what he does, what's the number we're all looking for out of Josh and Trayvon? Sacks.
Sure.
Right? Okay. When you're averaging, 10 points a game, or you're scoring 14, 15, 16 points a game, the opportunity to rush the passer is not there, as opposed to if you're scoring 24 points a game. So I think that has a lot to do with that. The awareness of an opponent, knowing that, hey, look, we're not worried about scoring a lot of points. We're not going to take that many chances. We're just going to kind of keep it close and play close to the end. So there's less opportunities there. So, but I think Josh has been fine. Would I like to see a little bit better? Sure, but I think a lot of that is also circumstantial.
What about Trayvon? Same thing.
Same thing. Yeah, same thing. And I think he's taken a step up. I think his pass rush acumen is better. Physical, like he's always been. I think definitely the scheme has helped him, to get his get his damn hand on the ground. I mean, it's like he's a 285-pound strong dude. Put his hand on the ground, and that's the one thing that they did accomplish this year.
What about Tyson Campbell?
Okay. I'm not real impressed with the game that he just had, but I mean, overall, I thought he's been okay this year. But I want to see him be better than okay. The biggest problem with the defense has been kind of other places. Darby has been disappointing as a free agent. Antonio Johnson didn't make the smooth transition to free safety. Cisco's had some mental errors. Winger's been hurt. The list kind of goes on, and the defensive tackle production hasn't been there.
All right, we'll come back. I got a few social media questions for you, Logs, including today's focus. The main one, it's a good one that we'll give to you on the other side. Coming up, if you want to get in, still time, it's 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. This is a Check the Tape Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. I'd like to recognize them. On their 10-year anniversary, that's right, a decade ago, their founder, Paige, developed a long-term solution for weight loss that could work for anybody, cutting through the misconceptions of lose weight, quick gadgets, fad diets, and medications, and in the process, completely revolutionizing the weight loss industry with real results and, importantly, lasting results. Free support for life was and still is the backbone of the Awaken 180 program. And a decade later, over 23,000 clients have lost more than a combined 750,000 pounds. Now, you look better, you feel better, people compliment you. All that is true and all that is worthwhile, but you're going to be healthier as well. Had a recent checkup where my cholesterol was spot on, my blood pressure was textbook, my triglycerides were in the right range. All these things that I don't think about all the time, a lot of it I attribute it to Awaken 180. You could be their next success story. Check them out online at awaken180weightloss.com. That's Awaken 180.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, visit AA Automotive on Richard Street. For oil changes to complex repairs, AA Automotive is a full-service repair shop for personal and commercial fleet vehicles. Trust AA to keep your ride running A-OK.
We're H-A-P-P-Y, H-A-P-P-Y, because happy Honda days are here. Everything is bigger. Bigger selection, bigger discounts, bigger trade-in values. Honda, quality, value, safety. Don't miss happy Honda days going on now at your local Honda dealer.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Now, it's time to showcase the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally.
Cam Little was gigantic for the Teal and Black on Sunday. The rookie kicker went a perfect 4 for 4 on his field goal attempts and was without blemish on his extra point tries. The former Arkansas Razorback has been razor sharp this season and is your Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
The Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa is the perfect place for indulging in a pampering spa treatment. This holiday season, give the gift of wellness with a gift card and take advantage of the spa's current promotion. With the purchase of a $75 gift card or more, guests get a credit towards a future service. With healing massages, revitalizing facial treatments, and more, a day at the Sawgrass Spa makes the perfect gift. Purchase in person at Sawgrass Spa during operating hours.
We know how much you love to shop. We're the same way. That's why 1010XL has your holiday gift guide. You'll find great gift ideas from Kuhn Flowers, Beards Diamonds, and Rethreaded. Start shopping at 1010XL.com.
The holidays are here, and so is your entire family.
Uh-oh, the toilet's not flushing.
And now the kitchen sink's clogged too? There's water coming from the ceiling. It's raining in the living room.
Don't let this be your holiday disaster. Call Duck Duck Rooter today and get those plumbing issues fixed before family time turns into flood time. Duck Duck Rooter, your local plumbing pros and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
It's the Jaguars' final home game of the 2024 regular season, and you don't want to miss it. Join us Sunday, December 29th for our fan appreciation game when the Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans.
It's going to go over on down, and the Jags are going to win the ball game.
To lock in your seats for this divisional matchup, head to Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you there, Jags fans.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Now, any good lineup needs power. When I needed a power connection for our new Walk-Off Charities baseball park, I found the perfect partner in Ricketts Electric. You're going to love these guys, I'm telling you. The Ricketts family has been providing commercial and residential electric service for years. So call my buddy Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960, and you can find them on Facebook as well. You will trust them. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them today at 320-5960.
Hey,
it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WonderWorld wants you to do. WonderWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WonderWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WonderWorld can.
And with Window World, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WonderWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WonderWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WonderWorld, and to top it off, WonderWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WonderWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call Window World today and get your free in-home estimate, or see them online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson spoke on Monday about the breakout rookie season for Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr.
One of the top young receivers in this league, and a big part of our offense, and just a bright spot. It's been encouraging to see his growth and what he's capable of doing. Going back and watching him on film, coming out of LSU to today, some of the same things. Some of the explosiveness, and we continue each week to load his plate up. He embraces that well.
BTJ now owns the Jaguars' single-season rookie records for receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. With your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update, I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, final few minutes here of a Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman. To note, Logs, I hope you're available. We'll be here Christmas Eve next week. We are doing a show Christmas Eve. We're off Wednesday and Thursday next week. So as long as you're available, we'd love to have you.
Sure.
All right, good stuff. Let's get to today's 10-10 Take.
10-10 Take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 Take. Brought to you by
Double checked. Cybersecurity made simple.
All right, this is a big question. It encompasses a lot of things, but I've been saving this one since I saw it come in a couple of hours ago. This one from Irv. He asked, what is it going to take for the Jaguars to do what the Commanders have done? In other words, I went back and looked at the record last year. They were 4-13. The Commanders were. Obviously, they got a new quarterback and changed things dramatically, but now they're in the postseason. They've got 9 wins. They should easily, I don't know if they've clinched a spot, but basically have clinched a spot based on where the other teams stand in the NFC. So for the Jags, who the 2 previous seasons did win 9 each of those years, what would it take for them to turn it around in 1 year's time and challenge for double-digit wins and playoff relevancy?
Yeah, and that's the million-dollar question. And look, Dan Quinn's done a great job, and kudos to them for being able to make that change, because, I mean, you're talking about an organization that has been struggling for quite some time. And this organization hasn't been struggling for like that, but, I mean, if you go back and look historically, it has, and even worse to some extent. And I don't have all the answers, but I do know this, that you've got to do things differently than you're doing right now. I mean, and there's a lot that can encompass in that statement. You know, and I'm not here to fire anybody. That's not what I do. But you've got to change something, because what you're doing right now, it's not working.
Not getting the results you're looking for.
No,
certainly.
I mean, like 4-16 in your last 20 games is not where you want to be. You know, and the reality is that this is a business of winning, and when you don't win, then everything gets evaluated.
Well, and like for the coach, let's just look at him for a second. Doug Peterson did come in with a division his first year, won 9 games his second year. So it's not like he hasn't done anything positive here. But in today's NFL, if you have a stretch like that, 4-16, doesn't matter how long you've been around, you're getting, unless you've really built up some equity. Antonio Pierce is on the hot seat. This is his first year, full-time coach there.
Same thing in New England.
People in Nashville are calling for
Mayo.
Brian Callahan's head
Mhm.
there. Gerard Mayo, can you get it turned around quick enough? And every owner is different, and everyone's going to have different degrees of patience, and nobody really knows what Shad Khan's thinking on the subject.
No.
At least that I'm aware of.
And the one thing that I do appreciate about Shad is that he is measured. The opposite of that is what the Jets are dealing with Woody Johnson, where you have fire this guy, fire that guy, and it was 5 games into the season, and you're like, wait a minute, what is going on? But anyway, but I don't have any idea what the future holds. And anybody that reports, that's why when it was that report came out, and I believe who was the guy that came out with that report right prior to the bye week, that if the Jaguars lose big, Doug Peterson could be out.
I think it was Ian Rappaport.
It was Rap Sheet, Ian Rappaport. When I read that, I remember sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, how does he know?
Well, when he said it, it was really vague. Like he's like, it could happen, possibly. I mean, those were the words he used in there. Sure, it could happen. You could point to any team that is struggling who has a late season bye, and if they don't win or they don't play impressively, they could get fired. You could write that blurb about any coach in that circumstance.
Well, the reality is that you've got 3 games left, and when you're in this situation, you're kind of coaching and playing for your football lives. I mean, that's just the reality. Because here's the reality is that you're being evaluated as a player at this point because coaches, personnel guys want to know, how are you motivated? Are you going to be a self-motivator and you're going to perform at your best and be a true professional at the end of the season when nothing really matters as far as the playoffs go? Coaches are going to be evaluated because if you keep the team together and keep them competitive and show some improvement, then all of a sudden, ownership may say, hey, look, they did a good job at the end. We're bringing some young guys along. Maybe there's a future. So that's a strange time of year. And unfortunately, the reality is that there is a lot of evaluation that's going to be happening, and nobody knows where that's going to go.
All right, let me get to some of these questions here. We'll go as quickly as we can through them. Some will require a little bit more than others. From Kevin, what would help us more in 2025, a dominant defensive tackle or a lockdown corner? He's looking at the draft, obviously, and that's fine. Hey.
I mean, you'd like to have both.
But if you can have one.
Give me a dominant defensive tackle.
Okay.
Because right now you really don't have
a dominant defensive tackle.
Well, you don't have a really good one.
I hear you. Well, along those lines, okay, I love when people like to couch things like, you're not really going to tell the truth on this. So I'll read it exactly how it was written.
Sure.
My question, this is on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. My question, perhaps not able to be honestly answered by Jaguar TV announcers and radio analysts.
Oh, okay.
Just how bad is Mason Smith? Obviously, Ledbetter is better, but is keeping Smith on the 53 next year doubling down on the mistake of not taking, and then he lists offensive linemen that he would have preferred them taking. So if you're willing to be an honest person for a change, Jeff, could you answer that?
I thought I was pretty honest earlier in the show when I said that Mason Smith has been getting reached a couple times a game, and that's a problem. And that needs to change. But this past game that he had some pass rush that was much better than anything he had done yet this year. Is he better than Ledbetter right now? No. But the ceiling is in different places for these two players. So you don't sit there and say, let's just keep playing Ledbetter and keep Mason Smith on the sideline because Mason Smith's never going to be anything. And I talked about this earlier. Marcus Stroud, after his rookie season, many people thought he might be a bust. But he was allowed to develop and he was given snaps. And by year 3, he was considered one of the most dominant defensive tackles in football. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the path for Mason Smith. But the only way for him to get better is to play. And is the disparity between a Ledbetter and a Mason Smith that great to where Ledbetter deserves to stay on the field all the time? Absolutely not.
I got to see the backflip from Mason Smith before I determine that. Could you imagine, though, I can't imagine any serious GM candidate that would go, yeah, let me get rid of Mason Smith. After 1 year on a rookie deal with the athleticism
that's something that
the
Jets would do.
Yeah, maybe, right? So don't hire a former Jets general manager would be the answer to that. So, but, of course, I'm going to presume that person thinks you're not answering it honestly, so you're not giving us the real story.
I put my teal-colored glasses on for that.
Yeah, apparently. What was more of a liability in the pass game this week? Was it lack of push from the middle of the D or poor safety play?
Probably poor safety play in this game.
And is that the case overall, or has it gone back and forth this season?
It goes back and forth. I mean, and there are plays that you would point at the pass rush, and then there's plays that you would point at the safeties, and just a couple safety plays for you. The Garrett Wilson touchdown. You're playing essentially 3 deep, and Savage for some reason isn't anywhere near the middle of the field, and Monteric Brown has to respect his third, and Savage is late getting over to Garrett Wilson. And it's a touchdown, and it's an easy touchdown for Aaron Rodgers. You got another 71-yard touchdown to Devontae Adams, to where you see Devin Lloyd running down the field with him, and everybody's like, what is Devin Lloyd doing running with Devontae Adams? Well, it's cover 2, and it's Tampa 2, and the linebacker is designed to carry the wide receiver until he gets to the safety level to allow the safeties to have an opportunity to make a play on that. Devin Lloyd carried Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams made the catch 39 yards down the field. So who do you think might be to blame there when Devin Lloyd carries the wide receiver
Possibly
for
the safety.
39 yards down the field? You have one safety when Devontae makes the catch, and Savage, he's behind Devontae. He's literally behind trying to catch up. The other one, Antonio Johnson, when he took his half of the field drop, he was on the number on the other side of the field. Outside the numbers, on the top of the number. I mean, you got to be in a half, so it's like, okay, it's cover 2. That means 2 safeties.
You got all the way to the middle line of the field.
Middle line, and I mean, look, you can't ask Devin Lloyd to do anything more than to carry him for 39 yards, for God's sakes. I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, he'd be running stride for stride, but the ball was thrown right on the money on the outstretched arms of Devontae Adams. In that situation, where is the safeties?
What is the best defensive scheme or alignment for this team based on their strengths and weaknesses? Because people say, then why the hell are we in cover 2? Because although Devin Lloyd may have done a good job in that play, we know he has trouble covering people, and you're going to ask him to cover a wide receiver. Because I see these kind of questions, so I'm asking you, should they be playing something else?
No, I mean, the cover 2 is a great coverage for preventing the deep ball. And Tampa 2's been around for a long time, and just got to have better execution on the back end.
Which, that, again, goes to the point. If you have a team, though, that keeps having these mental busts, what's the end result of simplifying it as much as possible?
You can't simplify that play anymore. That's a matter of holding those that are supposed to execute accountable.
Gotcha. All right. Logs, where are we going to catch you the rest of the week?
Thursday, got Jaguars this week. Jaguars happy hour with J.P. Shadrick and Doug Peterson. And then at Strings, Thursday night for Jaguars All Access, Saturday morning outdoor show. Then be in Vegas on Sunday. And
be there Saturday.
Yeah, we'll talk to you on Sunday.
Make it to the game on time now.
I will make it to the game on time, God willing. But looking forward to that. I've never seen the new stadium, so I'm kind of looking forward to it just from that standpoint.
Yeah, and a short week for those Raiders. Look, bro, if you don't win this one,
they're offensively challenged.
They are just flat bad. I mean, they didn't get a target for Jacoby Myers until, I want to say, like midway through the third quarter last night. Yeah. He's clearly your best receiver, not named Brock Bowers, who's obviously a tight end, and hardly went to Bowers last night.
He's a really good player.
Oh, you think?
Really good player. And Max Crosby not being available for the Raiders is a huge hit.
Yeah.
Which will benefit the Jaguars. I mean, I expect the Jaguars to win this game, 23-10, 23-9, something like that, regardless of who's playing quarterback for the Raiders.
15-9. Well, we saw that last night. So
you never know.
Yeah, you never do. All right, Logs, have a great week and safe travels. We'll talk to you Sunday with that late kick coming up.
Is it a late kick this week?
Yes, it's a late kick this week. Yes.
I didn't even realize
4:25,
Yeah, I hate that.
Who doesn't, right? But you make sense, right? 2 time zones over. They're not going to – is it Pacific or is it Mountain in Vegas?
I think they're Mountain.
Either, at least 2 hours difference.
Yeah.
At least 2 hours difference. So, late kick, late getting home, all that stuff. Sorry to
That's
spring
right.
that one on you.
That shows you how far in advance I'm looking on my calendar.
I hear you, brother. All right, that'll do it for Jeff Lageman, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, and I am Mike Dempsey on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Johnny O will join us in studio tomorrow. The ladies of Helmets and Heels are coming up next here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Happy